The purpose of this video is to make sure that people know what they're looking for when they do Quiver Dupe and how they can practice it. As with most tricks, it's fairly simple, but you need to have an idea of how it could fail. The goal of this trick is to prevent the collection flag from being set when we obtain the Quiver upgrade from the Gerudo. And in order to do that, what we do is we collect the Quiver while she is off screen. And I highly recommend that if you're going to learn or practice this trick, you do it with the collection flag displayed. And there are two ways to do this in GZ. You can use the flags menu in GZ, so that is in debug, flags, and then you have to scroll over here to item get inf. And the Quiver collection flag is this one at the very right end of the top row. You can see that if I go and just collect the Quiver, I've already set up the collection delay here, it turns green. That same flag is actually the value that's displayed to the right of my health at the top of the screen. You can see again that if I just go and collect the Quiver, that value changes. And I will put the memory addresses for 1.0 and 1.1 if you want to use the watches feature for this in the video description. Okay, so how do we actually keep that flag from getting set? Well, the basic idea is that you're going to line up with this wall here, you're going to target the wall, make sure you get its angle, and you're going to turn around, use C up to flip the camera. You can't collect things while you're in C up, so you won't accidentally collect the Quiver doing this. And then you're going to cancel out of C up, turn around again, and use target to swing the camera. And you can see that I'm collecting the Quiver. The flag is currently not set. Again, you can see it to the right of my health. And I'm going to hold down right on my control stick. It's not a precise angle that you have to hold, but just that general direction. As I close this text box, and what that's going to do is it's going to cause the camera to pan screen right as Link starts moving, and that will prevent the Gerudo from showing up on screen. So in 100% there's an extra step here, there's an RBA that's done, where what you're going to do is line up with the wall, again turn around, and now drop a fish, and now pull out the bottle, hit forwards wind, and now when you flip around, the fish actually gives you collection delay and prevents you from collecting the Quiver when you do that first camera turn. And now from here, it's going to be the same as what I just described, where you'll use C up to flip the camera, and then flick turn, back, hold down right, and now you can leave the area. So that's how to do the trick successfully. But in order to be good at a trick, you have to know how you could fail it. So, in order to do that, let's do the trick, and here we'll succeed at it. And then let's just check. So you can see the flag isn't set right now, even though I've already collected the Quiver. As soon as we put the Gerudo on screen, or close to on screen, that flag is going to be set. So let's see what happens if we just start changing the camera to go towards her. Alright, it got set right there. You can see that she's not actually on screen yet, but she's close enough that she's active, and so she actually set that collection flag. You can also see that the crate on the left side of the screen is a good visual cue for when she is close to being on screen, and that can actually help you tell if you've done the trick correctly or if you have made some mistake. So now, in terms of actually setting up the trick, you can stand from about here to about here on this slope. There's a pretty big range, and everything should work just fine. You should be able to get the angle, turn around, get the Quiver, and you can see that that crate that I was talking about is not actually on screen right now. You cannot see it at all. However, if I frame advance through accepting this text box while holding the correct control stick direction, what you'll see is that the camera will pan out ever so slightly, right, as I gain control of Link again, and now that crate is barely on screen. But remember that when we were moving the camera around to load the Gerudo, it has to go slightly past that crate in order to load. So this is not enough to set the flag, as you can see. And now it starts panning back away, and we're good. The flag is not set. However, there are some places that you can stand in that will not be so friendly. So there are some places up here on the slope, about where the slope meets Link's head, where things don't work out as well, so you don't want to stand up here. Standing up here, for instance, you may have a situation like that where you try to collect the quiver and you don't, and you have to do this a few times. And you can actually see on the right side of my screen I have my angle. Just doing those flick turns there, I actually ended up at a different angle, so I'm no longer flush with the wall. And I might get something like this where, oops, I was no longer at the angle of the wall, and you can see the crate is fully on screen and the flag has been set. And it might have not looked like I did anything wrong because, you know, I couldn't tell just by looking at it that there was a small difference in my angle. But there was. So if you get to a place like that where you need to start flicking the camera back and forth multiple times in order to get this to work, I would recommend lining up with the wall each time just to make sure that you're not, you know, slightly skewing your angle. But now, even if you do everything correctly, if you're standing at that spot that I said not to stand, you can have situations like this save state that I have here, where I did everything correctly, my angle was fine, but you can see that crate is still on screen. And this is actually a situation where, again, I'm going to frame advance, accepting this text box. You can see that the camera will pan out here, and the flag gets set as it pans out those few frames. And there's actually nothing I could do about it in that situation. And you can see, if I again load the save state, this is where I was standing, right up here. So that would not be a place that you want to stand doing this trick. You want to be a little more down the slope here. So as far as I know, if you're standing slightly down the slope like this, there are no positions that are just going to automatically fail for this trick. However, there are still ways you could fail it, and the biggest one is going to be if you don't get perfect turns, perfect 180-degree turns. And in fact, while I was recording for this video, I went to set up the trick and had it completely fail. And when I went and looked back at the footage, it's because I did not have a straight 180-degree flick turn. So, of course, if you want to be super careful about that, you could shield turn or something just to make sure you're directly in the notch. But even in that case, I could immediately tell that the trick failed because I saw the crate in the bottom left corner there. So my biggest suggestion for this is just, you know, be aware of how it can fail and make sure to practice this trick a little bit with the watches on screen.